So this is called elimination. Okay, and there's three types of there's three examples today. Okay, three examples. There's multiple methods on how to solve systems, but elimination is my favorite method. So I'm going to show you the elimination way to start with, and then I'm going to show you the substitution way later. Okay, so let me show you what the example looks like. Example 1. It looks like this. I'm going to write the instructions below my example because I'm going to make my my steps just for the first step go sideways. Okay, so I'm going to write my steps underneath instead of sideways. Usually I write it to the side and then I have no space to write what I want to write. Okay? Okay. So over here, put goal. Okay. Your goal is to have one of the letter columns. Okay. Have the same number. Okay. But, and you're going to put this underneath, but opposite signs. Okay, and then I'm going to tell you how you do that. So same number, you're going to use, and then I'm going to show you, just draw these two arrows like this technique. Okay. Okay, but opposite signs. Change all signs in one row if needed. Okay. So write that out. This is going to be step 1. This is going to be step 2. And then step 3 is going to be called add to eliminate. Step 4 is solve for, in this case, it's going to be solve for y. We'll put a little parenthesis or x. But the way I'm going to show you, it's always solving for y. And then last step, and we're going to call it last step, and I'll show you why later. But last step is find the other letter. And x and y can be fractions so that you couldn't guess a solution that would make both of them true. But what the goal is to find an XY pair that makes both equations true. Okay, but we teach it to you where there's real nice numbers for X and Y, but in reality, you sometimes have terrible numbers for X and Y, and the method will still work and solve the problem for you. Okay, we still have the same 6 people. Really quite annoying. Okay. I'll have to text parents later, but I don't know what happened to, I don't think they told me they weren't going to be here. I thought oh no, you know who told me they weren't going to be here? I think either Isaiah or Ivan told me yesterday that he had a dental appointment this morning, I believe, but I don't remember which one. Okay, so for this one, only because their names both start with I, so I believe it was one of them. I don't think it was Jorge. Okay, so let me show you the arrow technique. Okay, Okay, the arrow technique. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw an arrow from the 5 right here and from the 2 down here. Okay, so here, let me draw that better. Okay, so up here, down here. Now in step 1, I'm going to write something just to the right of step 1. Only positives. Okay. So if 2 or 5 were negative, I wouldn't, I would still just do positive. But what the arrows mean is the 5 that's in the below row, you're going to write it in the above, the high row, the top row. And the 2 from the top row, you're going to write in the bottom row. But if any of them were negative, you would not include the negatives. Okay, now what I'm going to do, this is my plan. My plan is to multiply the whole equation by 5. But in order for me to write that in a correct mathematical way, I need to put a parenthesis here, and then times 5, and a parenthesis here, and times 2. So you have to multiply both sides by the same number. But we're going to multiply the bottom equation by 2 and the top equation by 5. But the way we show that is with the parentheses and then the number on the other side. You're not allowed to put like a parenthesis around a whole equal sign. So this is the way you have to write it to be correct. Okay, and then let's draw the arrows. So you're going to distribute the 5. A lot of people forget to multiply the 5 by the 3y, and then it gives them the wrong answer. And usually fractions when there's not supposed to be fractions. Okay, so you're going to multiply straight across. So that's 10x it doesn't matter what color I write this in, plus 15y, and then you multiply the right side, which is 25. Okay, in the bottom row, you're going to multiply, and you're also going to get 10x. So our goal was to get them both to be 10x, both to be the same number. So in order to do that, we use the arrow thing so that they end up with the same number. And it's okay that the y's are not the same number, and it's okay that the right side are not the same number. Now, the next step is add, but don't add yet. Okay, so write add. Okay, that's step 3, add. But I want to show you why we can't add yet. If you look at step 3, it says add to eliminate. That means I want the 10x and the 10x to cross out and give me 0. But if they're both positive, like it shows me right now, 10x plus 10x is 20x. And I always want to add. You don't want to subtract. You always want to add. So that's not helpful because I want one of the letters to go away. So change color. So whatever you wrote that color in, okay, whatever you wrote this in, like if you wrote it in red, then I'm writing mine in blue. Okay, but use a different color. And what we're going to do is look at step 2. Step 2 says, I'll highlight this one, change all signs in one row if needed. Okay, so what I mean by needed, and let's write this next to it, I need the first column, hold on, we'll just put, I need my matching numbers to be opposite. Okay, so check this part right here. I'm going to highlight it in blue. Make sure you write what I highlighted in blue. Okay, because I just added that. You need the matching numbers to be opposite. So my matching numbers right now are not opposite. So when I add them, I'm not going to get 0. So I want to add them and get 0. So I need to change them to be opposite. So this one's minus, this one's going to be minus, and this one's going to be minus. Now, sometimes you don't have to do that because sometimes they'll already turn out to be opposite, and then you don't have to do step 2. But the adding is important, and write the word add to the left on the bottom so you remember what you're doing. So you're adding each column. So when I add the first column, I get 0. Now I'm going to put a 0 on the line because usually you don't want to write it in the main area. So I add it and I get 0. But you want to think that in your brain that you're adding. Okay, and then here I get 7y equals 7. So I'm adding each column. Good morning, Jorge. Take a picture of this so you can write it. Okay, so 7y equals 7, and then I need to solve for y. So what do you think? Divided by 7, divided by 7? I'm going to write my answer to the side because I don't have any space, but if you had space, you would write, well, I'll write it right here. Y equals 1. I'll write it right here because really, we shouldn't be going sideways. So y equals 1. So what I did is I figured out one letter, and then wherever you have space, write last step. Okay, so wherever you have space. Now, normally your space is in a different area. So you're labeling it last step for 2 reasons. One reason is our Mn14.5, which is substitution. We're going to also have the last step, but it's going to be a different first 4 steps. So having that last step, we'll remember, oh, we do it the same way as we did with the other one. Okay, so it doesn't really have a good name except last step. So write the word last step. Thanks, Mom. Okay, so my last step is you're going to pick one of the equations. Okay, so pick one of the original equations. Let me write that better so you guys can see it. So pick one of the original equations. It doesn't matter which one, so I'm going to just pick the top one. You're going to take this number right here. So I just highlighted it. And you're going to put it in the place of that letter right here. So see, it says y equals 1. You are going to take out the old y. And instead of putting y, you're going to put the number it says y is. So it says y is 1. So you're going to put the 1 where the y is. Hey, good morning, Isaiah. Isaiah, take a picture. And then you could write the words later. Okay. And then, yeah, and then you and Jorge just came too. The example 2 will make more sense because you'll see it from the beginning. Okay, so this one, last step, then you work this out. So this right here, you're multiplying. So that's 2x plus 3 equals 5. And now from here, it's finally something that you recognize, right? You're like, oh, I know how to solve that, Miss Nichols, right? All the rest of it is brand new and weird. But this, you know how to solve. Okay, so let's start asking questions. Oh, how can you get echelon? Mm-hmm. And that's our opposite things eliminate when you're adding it, and then divide. And then x equals 1. Okay, and then the final answer is written this way. So here, let's write final answer. And then you always put x first and y second. It's alphabetical. So x it says is 1, and y it says is 1. And then that's your answer. This is chapter 8 in your algebra book. Chapter 8. Okay. So Jorge and Isaiah, you might want to take a picture of this if you can. I'll send it to you later anyway, but if you have a way to take a picture, it'd be good. Okay, so let's do example 2. Let's do example 2. Okay. You guys leave a little bit of space in front of the 2 because you're going to have to put something in there. Okay, so 2x minus 3y equals -2 and -7x plus, I can't read this girl's writing. I think up to 5. Yeah, I think 5y equals -15. Okay. So why I'm using elimination, and the other method I'm going to teach you later is called substitution. But the reason I'm showing, the reason this would be elimination is because it looks all organized. I have an X column, I have a Y column, I have an equals column, and then I have the number column. So when it's all organized like that, that's when I use elimination. And then substitution, it's not organized like that. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw the arrows. So the arrows is the first step. Now, only multiply by positives when you do the arrows. Okay, so even though that says -7, I'm just going to put a regular 7 up here. So right now I'm ignoring the signs. Okay, and the 2, I'm just going to put a 2 here. Okay, so let's put a little message that says only positives. Okay, so you're only putting positives. You'll notice when I circle the plus sign, I mean positive. And when I just put the plus sign, I mean plus. Oops, sorry. When I write it like in a sentence. Okay, now when you choose that because you're trying to make both front numbers 14. Okay, so you're trying to make both front numbers the same number. That's goal number 1, is make the front numbers the same number. But second step is I want them to be opposite. So I'm actually pretty excited that they're already opposite because that's going to save me a step. So definitely don't multiply by negatives in this first step. And then look very carefully of where my parentheses are. Okay, so I'm putting the parentheses in to indicate that I want to multiply the 7 by both things in the first parenthesis and the 2 by both things in the second parenthesis. And then draw a little arrow. And you guys know I don't usually like going sideways, but these problems, they get really confusing if you go down in this step. So sideways is a little bit more organized. Okay, so I'm back to blue. It doesn't matter, but I'm just back to blue for my color. So 7 times 2x, 1,000,000. You totally gave me that tool yesterday. Okay. Um, the other class had 3, but I think we're gonna do 4. So, um, Jorge, you prefer a million? Uh, okay, 4 sounds pretty good if you think about a million. Okay, so no, I think we need 4. We needed that one because we ran out of time because it was at the end of the day in their class. Okay, so 7 times 2x. So can you multiply 7 across, and what do you think you get? Or write me the whole equation. So what if you multiply 7 by 2x, you multiply 7 by negative 3y, and you multiply 7 by negative 2? What do you get if you multiply all of those? Can someone type the answer for me? Okay, agree. Okay, I agree. And then what's the next one? Okay, agree. And then the last one? Uh-huh, perfect. Okay, how about the second row? How about my second row? Anyone? What's my second row? So I'm multiplying 2 times negative 7x, 2 times 5y, and then 2 times negative 15. Negative 14x. Okay, I agree. Plus 10y. I agree. Equals negative 30. Good job, David. Perfect. Okay, now when I write my word add over here, I ask myself, how are my signs? Are they opposite? Hey, they are. Look, I'm going to put a little smiley face. They're opposite already. Exactly. I could save a whole step. Okay, now if you multiply that front number by negative 7, they would have ended up being the same sign again. Okay, so add, and we get 0. So put the little 0 there. Add the next row, negative 11y. And what's down 14 and down 30? What would that be? Uh-huh. Okay, and then divide. And you get y equals 4. Now what I find is I always have space over here. So I write last step here so somebody can follow my work because there's so many steps, right? So then I don't have to waste space. So I kind of like to save space over here and you just write last step anywhere. I do need you to label it called last step. Okay, last step is you pick either equation. I'm just picking the top one, but you pick either equation and you take your answer from here and put it in for the letter here. So you're saying that y turned out to be 4. And you guys, if you're caught up to where I am, can you type in ready? So type in ready when you're ready. Alex, remember you're typing. Okay. Ready for the next step. So did you write all this down so far? That's a good question, though. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we got everybody. Okay, so just want to make sure everybody's caught up because sometimes I write too fast. When I ask you guys questions, I don't write too fast. But when I just answer my own questions, then I go too fast. Okay, so right here, let's put multiply. You won't have to write that in your homework, but in your notes, it's good. You do need to write the word last step in your homework. Okay, so those two you're multiplying. So that's minus 12. Okay, and then what? What should we do from here? What should we do from here? I agree. Add 12. 0, right? Those cancel because you get 0. 10, more ups than downs. Divide. Okay. And then when you write your answer, you have to write the parentheses. We got to write a little note because a lot of times people will not put the parentheses. The parenthesis means the order matters. So since I want X first and Y second, it matters that I'm putting the 5 first and the 4 second. So you heard it called an ordered pair when you first learned it, but you didn't maybe know the significance. Okay, because there's going to be something else in math. You don't have to write this down, but later on, if you write it this way, it means the order doesn't matter. So this is the same thing as 4 or 5. So the order doesn't matter. Okay, so this is in the future. You don't have to write that down. But in the future, this means order doesn't matter. Okay. And if you just put comma and you don't put the parenthesis, it means you don't care about the order. So you have to put the parentheses. Okay. A lot of people in the last class, they didn't have the parentheses. So, when we do the corrections, I was drawing the parentheses in on their corrections. Okay. Try that way. No, you need to have all the examples, Isaiah. Remember, we need this permanent in your brain forever, 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 forever. And actually, elimination, what I'm trying to teach you this summer, you guys, is things that you need in every single math class for your future. So instead of something that maybe you just learn in Algebra 1 and then you don't learn it again, you just see it once. I'm not trying to focus on that. I'm trying to focus on things that you're going to see in every math class. So this one you will see in geometry, you'll see it in Algebra 2, you'll see it in math analysis. And they won't teach it to you again. They'll assume that you know it from Algebra 1. Okay. So you definitely need all the examples, you guys. Okay. Okay. So we're trying to put this permanently in your mind. Okay. Not just for today. Okay. So do the arrow thing. So you're going to multiply this row by 4. And what are you going to multiply by my bottom row by? What are you going to write my bottom row by? Exactly. Okay, I'm going to go to the side. Okay, so that's negative 8x, negative 24y, and 32. And a lot of people forget to multiply it by the second one. They'll multiply it by the negative 2x, and they'll multiply it by the 8, but they forget to multiply it by the negative 6y. Okay. And this one is negative 8x plus 10y equals negative 2. So I write my word add, which is actually step 3. But when I write my word add, it makes me realize, do I need to do step 2? Okay, so step 2, I'll write it over here. Step 2 is I need them to be opposite. If they're already opposite, then they'll cancel. But right now, if I add negative 8x and negative 8x, I get negative 16x. And I don't want to get negative 16x. I'm trying to get them to be 0. So if I want a 0 here, I need one of them to be opposite. So you take either row. It's up to you. So you pick either row. Use a different color so you could see it better. Okay, so I take either row and I change all the signs. What I'm actually doing legally math-wise is multiplying by a negative 1. I'm multiplying the whole bottom row by negative 1. But to me, it's easier to just do the changing signs. It's kind of like the keep switch thing. Okay. Now does adding give me 0? Right? Now adding would give me 0. So I need them to be opposite to make it be 0. So I need the front numbers to be opposite and the same number, like the same number, but they're opposite. Okay. So then I add all my rows. Negative 34y equals 34. And then from here, it'll be pretty smooth for you. And then fit last step wherever you can, but often my last step fits over here to the left side. Pick an equation. And it doesn't matter which one you pick. You could pick the bottom one if you want. And put this one in for y. I'm multiplying these. And then from here, you guys are good. That's the final answer. So the way I'm showing you these examples is it works no matter what. Okay, so for the way I'm showing you, it works every single time. But for example, 4, I want to show you another way that gives you options. But you have to think a little bit more creatively. So it doesn't work every time, but sometimes it's shorter. So I'm going to show you another example that you can choose. You have to write example 4 down, but it's going to be one where you can choose how to attack the problem. Or you could attack it the way I just did. I just showed you on examples 1 through 3. Okay. Can you put ready again? because I was writing that one kind of fast. So ready means I'm ready for the next example. And one of you used photo math on yesterday's assignment. Can you guys make sure you stop doing that? I stopped one of you from the other day doing it, but then a new person did it. You guys, I can tell because photo math solves it different. So then you guys are solving it some weird way. You're solving it like the algebra 2 way. I didn't show you the algebra 2 way. Okay. So no photo math. 1, 2, 3. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5. You guys, I need 3 more people. It's okay. That's what I was thinking. I was writing too fast. Okay. Okay, so for example 4, it's going to be, we're going to call it creativity. No, there's too many. Hold on. Creativity. There we go. Okay, I had too many ITYs. Okay, so creativity, saves time, but the arrow way always works. Okay, so that's what example 4 is going to be called. Okay, so we're not going to solve, I'm going to show you 2 ways. Okay, so option 1, but we're not going to solve it all the way to the bottom. Okay, so option 1 is the arrows. Okay, so write it over here again. Okay, but we're gonna only do, this is like a half example. We're not gonna finish it. We'll finish the shortcut way, but we're not gonna finish the option 1. So option 1 is the arrows. So I would multiply the bottom one by 8 and the top one by 10. Right? That option will work. But if you notice the bottom row, what's 8 times 18? I mean, I don't know. That's going to be a huge number. So I have to deal with crappy big numbers. Now, maybe that's bad. Maybe it's not bad. Probably depends if your teacher lets you use a calculator or not. Okay. Or option 2, which is the one we're going to actually do, is the creativity way. The creativity way. Okay. Is there another way to make the front numbers match? What's the common denominator of 8 and 10? What's the common denominator of 8 and 10? What if these were denominators? That's a common factor. But what if they were both on the denominator? What denominator could you make them both into? Remember when you did like this? And you needed to pick a number for the bottom? What would be your number for the bottom? Yes. So option 2, the creativity way, and I'm going to show you 2 option 2s, okay? There's going to be an option 3. I could say make 40x for both. So where did I get the 40x? That was the common denominator. But you have to think of that. But then I only have to multiply this one by 5 and this one by 4. So, I mean, those are still pretty big numbers. Okay, option 3. Option 3 is going to be the shortest one in this one. And remember, when you're learning from a normal math teacher, not like me, but like a normal math teacher, their brain tells them the shortest way immediately upon looking at the question. So they're going to look at this and use option 3 because their math brain, they've been doing it for so long, they're going to look at it and be like, oh, this is the easiest way. But it's hard to communicate to a student why that would be the easiest way. And the books do that too. It's not just the teachers, okay? And we have awesome teachers at Walnut High School. So, but it's just the way our math brains think, okay? So let me show you. So I want you to look at this column for me. Can you make that column match? What can I multiply to get that column to match? I don't need to multiply the bottom row by 6 and the top row by 18. What can I multiply the top row by that makes it match the bottom row? Exactly. Now, wouldn't that be nice? I just have to multiply the top row by 1, by 3. So what if I multiply the top row by 3 and don't do anything to the bottom row? How about I keep the bottom row the way it is? Okay, so let's actually solve this one. Okay, so I don't know if you have room, so I'll go down here. I don't know if you have room to the right. So this would be what? 24x minus 18y equals 6. And then 10x minus 18y equals negative 8. Look at my numbers. I don't even have crazy numbers. In option 2, I was going to have like 72 and 36 and 30. I was going to have to divide like 102. I mean, I was just going to get crazy numbers. Okay, but look how pretty these numbers are. Okay, so now when you're doing this, the arrows way always works. And if you have a calculator, the arrows way is beautiful. But if you don't have a calculator, or if you're trying to keep up with your teacher and you're like, what are they doing? This is the idea of what they're doing. And if you think of it and you see a shortcut, then you can use the shortcut and they won't mind. Okay, so if I add right now, are my y's going to cancel? Or do I need to change the signs? So my focus right now is on the y column. Oops, that's bad. You guys, that's bad. Here, let me highlight it in yellow. So let's look at the y column. Am I going to get 0 right now if I add them? Okay, I need them to be opposite. Okay, so I'm going to need them to be opposite, so the answer is no. So I need them to be opposite, so I get a 0 here. Okay, and then I add them. Okay, and we're almost done. Okay, so then from here, divide by 14, divide by 14, x equals 1. So last step we'll put over here. So what am I going to put this x equals 1 in for? I say that's because for me, when I make up math questions, that's the easiest way for me to make the math question up. So at the beginning, I was gonna go grab a textbook so that I could have some more creative math questions. But I designed the front of the questions to work, my coefficients. And the easiest way for me to figure out what the right numbers are is if I make it 1. So y is probably 1 also. But that's just because I made up the question. Okay, now one thing here I want you to see is that it says x equals 1, so I put it for x instead. And then how do I solve this one? How do I solve this one? Okay. Good idea, but no, that's the mom. Because this one's all backwards. So who's with me on my same side? So I got to get rid of the hug and the sister. So get rid of the hug or the sister first. But I don't want to get rid of the mom. The mom's already over to the outside of the door. So the mom's okay over there. Anyone else have an idea? Yeah, sister. So how do I get rid of the 8? Hey, hey, hey. Minnie? Minnie, stop scratching the screen. Okay, so you guys, how do I get rid of the 8? Stop crying, Minnie. So you guys, how do I get rid of the 8? Not yet! Isaiah, wait! We're almost done. Don't leave. Okay, you guys, how do I get rid of the 8? Somebody tell me. We're almost done. We have like 5 seconds left. Thank you. Subtract 8. Negative 6y equals negative 6. And then what? We only have 1 step left. Divide by? Someone tell me. Yes, except negative. And then y equals 1. So 1, 1. Sounds good? Okay, I'm going to have you guys come back at 9:35. Okay, so come back at 9:35. And you guys who were late this morning, stop being late. Oops. Okay, there you go. Bye. I just didn't want you to miss the last example. Alex, are you still here? You can take your speaker off and talk if you are.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Alex, you did in one of your homeworks a strange way. It looks like you use photo math, so or maybe you just use some interesting creative way. But don't use photo math or if you are, okay? Because otherwise, that's probably why you're missing some of my steps.
Oh, look at that little sleeping pit bull.
Do you have a sleeping pit bull?
No, behind you. Behind you.
Oh,
He's behind you.
behind me. That's my Penny. She's a Chihuahua.
Pit
She's a
bull, chihuahua,
Chihuahua
same
mini
thing.
princess,
They
right?
can both bite people's head off.
Right? It's just the ones have the super strong jaws. Okay. Cool. So Alex, no photo math, okay? Or no online solutions. Okay. So, good job today, Alex. And isn't it crazy? We only have a week left, 4 days left, and you get your extra like $5. $5, 5 credit. $5 is way more. It's like five
five
hundred dollar bills.
dollars?
Yeah, it seems like low, but it's like
I'll
five
take it.
gold dollars. It's $5 gold towards your 220 high school graduation credits. So you need 220, and now you're gonna have 10 because you had your one from the other teacher, from Miss Tebow. This was what, number 14? Notes 14? I think this was, yeah, notes 14. Oh, that's homework 14. I'm just trying to post the assignments for you guys for later when you come back. 14. No, 14's right there. What time would this be? 9. Well, I guess we could do 10. Okay. Any moves?